Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. My name is Audie Ratliff, and I'm thrilled to bits that you are here to spend the next few minutes with me. As you know, if you've been following the series, this will be the first full week that we've been able to spend on the new batch of 10 mandolins. And so we already have the tops glued together, profiled out, and ready for the carving process. And some of the jobs on the job jar list this week will be to do the backs the same way. We have some boards that need to be glued together and then profiled out and ready to carve. And also we need to strip off the side wood. We've got some boards laid aside to make sides out of, so we need to strip those out and make some sides. And the same thing can be said of the neck blanks. I have some boards already laid out, chosen, and all I have to do is just saw the profile out and get those neck blanks started so that we can have necks for the new mandolins. So stay with me for the next few minutes if you would, and we will do all those jobs and hopefully more. We'll just have to see how the week unfolds. Well, actually, the very first job this week, seeing as how it is almost winter, was to push a few benches aside and make a little bit of room for my firewood rack. Brought the rack in and then filled it up so that when the snow starts to fly this year, now I'm ready to stock the old wood stove up and stay warm in this room. And actually, even that wasn't the very first thing I did. The very first thing I did was brought in some of these plants that I don't want to die this winter and set them here in the corner of the shop. The little flowering thing that I saved about 2 or 3 years ago. And I have an apple tree that I've been babying along. And sitting right over there is a pear tree, I think, that I've been babying along. We'll try to get those in the ground next spring. So now we can move on to mandolin stuff. Last week, if you'll recall, we had a great big wide, pretty long curly maple board here on this bench. And today I have cut that down and profiled out 4 single piece backs, which I think you saw already last week, and then 8 2-piece backs, and I've got them laid out and numbered, and they're pretty much ready to join, which means that I'm going to take this surface here that glues to this surface here and make it flat and level. And unfortunately, that's quite a job because I've never been able to sharpen planer blades sharp enough to do really curly maple, which is what this is, without chipping and digging it out. So I have to do it the old-fashioned way with sandpaper, some glass, and believe it or not, I have an aluminum bar that I use, and we'll film some of that process. And hopefully here in the next few minutes, well, actually it'll take more than a few minutes, but we'll have at least one of these things ready to glue together, and that'll be our first 2-piece backs in this batch that have been glued together. And now the first back has been glued up, and I've got 7 more to go. All of the backs have been joined and glued, as you can see right there. And so now we'll move on to the next job, which is going to be stripping those side wood pieces out of those boards that you saw earlier. And we're going to have to set up the table saw and strip them out, sand them down, even them all up to the same thickness and all like that. And so that'll probably take up a good portion of the rest of the day and part of tomorrow, probably. So now all of those boards that you saw earlier in the video have been sawn on the table saw into strips. And now we're going to put them through the sander to clean them up and sand them to the final thickness. Okay, it is now Thursday afternoon, and what I've accomplished up to this point this week is we have, of course, the tops. There are a pile of tops over there in a box that are ready to start the carving process. You just got through seeing me finish up with a dozen backs, and they are ready to start the carving process as well. And we have these sides right here. They have been sanded, stripped off the board, sanded down, cleaned up, and they are ready to start the bending process. Now, to build a mandolin, we need to bend the sides, put them in molds like this, glue in the blocks, and then take them out as a rough carcass, so to speak, and run it through the processes of cutting the F-holes in it and the neck joint and all like that, and putting the binding on. And so at that point after the binding is on, it's when we're going to need the neck. So I haven't done anything as far as those necks with those boards that I've got laid out to make the necks with. Way too early in the process to fool with that. So what I'm going to do from this point on for a while now will be to try to bend a set of sides, one set of sides a day, and get those sides in the molds. It usually takes a couple of days to get all of the blocks glued in. So until I have 5 of these molds, I have 5 of them, until I get those filled. And by then, hopefully I will have made enough progress in the carving the tops and putting the tone bars in so that those things will be ready to glue on the sides as they become ready to be glued. So that's what we're going to do next, is bend sides and we'll work on carving the tops out. Okay, it is pretty late Thursday night, and I'm going to cut this video off here, and I'll kind of explain. My life is about the same week to week to week to week. I shoot video while I'm doing my building mandolins, and then usually I will take a full camera to the computer on Thursday night and download it out of the camera into the computer and then upload it into the video editing program and kind of pre-edit the video, and so that when I come to work Friday, I can sort of on Friday evening cut the epilogue or whatever I've done on Friday, add that to what I've already edited out on Thursday, and that way then I have a full video that I can have loaded up by Saturday. So I just found out that I can work tomorrow, Friday, but I've got to leave about 3 o'clock on family business, and I will probably be gone until 11 or 12 o'clock tomorrow night, so I won't have time to actually edit the video out and get it uploaded and all that sort of thing. So I thought, well, let me just go back down to the shop and shoot this little clip of video to tell you that we're going to end this week's video right here where we're at, and tomorrow when I'm at work, I will most likely just, as you saw earlier, I'll bend another set of sides, put a set of sides in a mold and try to get a couple of the blocks glued, and then I'll go back and work on carving out the tops, which indeed I didn't get any footage of it, but I did get the bowl of one of the very first top done today. So that's where we're going to close this video off. Sorry about that. So you're not going to get a whole lot of what happens on Friday, but we'll pick right back up on Monday with the next episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. And I certainly hope to see you next week when that video will air. So we'll look for you then. Hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind, and if you haven't already done that, and tell all your friends and picking buddies about the video, and just come back and spend a few minutes with me each and every week right here on the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. See you next week.